Welcome back to part 2 of what's in the tanks. We're going to look at the second rack today. I think in total it's going to be, well, I have 5 racks, the bowls and the refrigerator. But anyways, the one I'm going to do today is exactly the rack that you normally see behind me when I'm either doing videos or doing my live streams. That one, this entire rack that's behind me, for the most part, is running some sort of air filtration, and pretty much those are the only tanks that are going to have any sort of filtration in the fish room. Only reason being is because this was already set up with the small air pump. I did a review on it. It's the AQQA, the super tiny air pump that's running all these aquariums. So that's the only reason I have them going now, but I could realistically pull the air from them and they'll be fine. So enough of that. Let's turn around, show you guys what we have going on in those racks. So, okay, this rack is the very first rack that I built in this fish room. Up until this point, I was having tanks on top of old furniture pieces and stuff like that. But this is actually the only cinder block and 2x4s rack that I have, and it's the oldest one that I have, and it's pretty much the original one for the fish room. What I'm doing, I think these are, if I remember correctly, these are 10-foot long 2x4s with the 6 by, or is it 8 by 16 cinder blocks, if I remember, if memory serves me well, or something like that. I would have to look it up, but it's the bigger, the full-size cinder blocks, because I know there's some that are a little bit thinner. And in here is a hodgepodge of aquariums. Interestingly enough, that's like a 53, that's a 55, and that's a 55, but they're all different kind of layouts, as you guys can see. That's only a 36 inch. That's a 48. That one is your traditional 12.5 by 20 something tall. That one is 16 inches deep, and that's why it's a little bit shorter. And like I said, that's 36 by, I want to say either 18 or, yeah, I think it's 18 inches deep. So, and that one has an internal sump. That one is acrylic, and all the rest are glass. Interesting note about this. Well, no, I think this rack, with the exception of that one, is the only one that was given to me. I bought that one for okay. Well, let me get started on these. Let me move up a little bit closer. So, like I told you, this one is like a 53. It's kind of an odd size one. Close to 55. Close enough that I would call it a 55. This one here is an old oceanic. It's also it's a cube. It was a marine cube. It was originally for saltwater. That was a saltwater tank too. This one I believe I got for $10, and it's a 33-gallon cube. And I'll kind of go into what's running the filter systems on all of these. This was a 75. I picked this one up for $50, but in reality it was less than that, because along with this came this aquarium, that 55, and I want to say a 20 long. So if you break down the price between those three, this is probably a lot less than $50. Those all came from the same person that lives here in Yuma, and he gave me those. So we have that one. And then this one I found out here at the swap meet. I think I paid $20 for it, and it was $20 for this and a 10-gallon tank. So, it was one of those ones that I got. And that is the original. Well, this is my number 2 tank. This is the second one that I purchased, and this one cost me $50 at the time, but I had to reseal it. This is the very first project that I had to do the entire setup. I had to put new frames, because the frames on it If you recall, in these 55, they only have the center bracing. I had to order these from a website. I can't recall the name of the website right offhand. I would have to look it up. But I had to do the top, and I had to reseal this whole aquarium. So that was like my first big project that I took on that I had to do. But let's start up here and then we'll work our way through. Again, this is an acrylic tank. It's got an internal sump, as you guys can see back there. This one I recently changed the pump. As a matter of fact, I think I still had the pump laying around here. Yeah, hold on. All right, so this is the second little pump. The second one, originally it came one that was similar to this size. This is an aqua top. This is a replacement. This one is actually still running. I didn't replace it because it quit running. I replaced it because I got tired of this area here getting clogged up with snails and impeding the pass of water. So every so often I would have to go in there and clean it out because you wouldn't see any water movement. This one, believe it or not, it's a sponge filter from Aquarium Co-op that's actually replaced that that little water pump, so that I didn't have to use another outlet, and it's air driven. So as you guys can see, it moves quite a bit of water, and it works fine. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. As far as doing the operation of the filtration, it works fine. I like it because I'm using this little air pump that I was talking about. This is running the 120 we saw earlier, which has got that one sponge filter. It's running the sponge filter on here, which is, I think, the medium size sponge filter for Aquarium Co-op. It's running a sponge filter in that, and it's running a airdrop in there. Airstone. It's driving an undergravel filter that's sort of set up like a plenum. The reason I say that is because I didn't do the laterite and the kitty litter on that one. So I don't know if that technically, I guess a plenum is just a void on the bottom of the aquarium. So yes, it's a plenum. This one was the second iteration of dirted tanks. This is the first one that I started playing around with, not necessarily doing the 1 inch of soil. I started kind of mixing other substrates and stuff like that to get this running. This one was a total experiment. This one was nothing but originally gravel, natural gravel and sand, nothing in the substrate, totally inert. And I wanted to see if I could get it to grow any sort of plants. And quite honestly, it did take it some time to get it going. But as you guys can see now, it's growing jungle vel like crazy. And I've got some other plants in there. But I'll get a little bit into what was in here before, and probably the reason why I would no longer call it an inert substrate. But let's go back over here. So again, in here what I have are my tiger barbs. I have a colony of, I want to say, like, I think I started out with 20. I don't know how many there are in there now. I've never really sat down and count them. I know I've lost a couple here and there. But for the most part, they're still all in there. And also there is a blue gourami or opal gourami who's hiding back in there. He'll come out when I feed the tank. This one I've kind of neglected it a little bit. As you guys can see, it's got some algae on the acrylic. I scrape it every day trying to get rid of it. Every day it's a little bit less. But, you know, it's just one of those things where if you don't stay on top of it, it can get pretty bad. In here, I just have some jungle vel. I have some crypts that are in there. I guess technically this is kind of like an Asian tank. Because for the most part, the barbs and the gourami are from Asia. And apparently, I just found out that jungle vel also grows in that region. Now, I don't know if it's native or invasive. but unintentionally it kind of became, I guess, if you want to call it like a sort of a biotype, Asian biotype, Southeast Asian or something like that. I don't know, but that's what I have in there. There are some cories, so I guess that disqualifies it because there's a couple of albino cories in there. But nonetheless, it's basically tiger barbs in here, which these guys are pretty cool. I mean, people kind of sleep on them because they're a lot more common, and I guess they're not as popular because there's newer fish out in the market, but I still enjoy them. I still think it's a pretty active aquarium. The colors are really nice. When they really get into breeding dress, the noses get real orange, and it really stands out. But that's what I have in there. Again, it's an internal sump that's being driven by air, and it's running the internal sump system in the back. It's got chambers and stuff like that. My opinion, I wouldn't buy a system like this because I deal with a lot of evaporation. So this is one of the tanks that I constantly have to be topping off, because if I don't, then the filtration system basically stops working. That's the only downside to those internal. I think if this was maybe inside the house, it'd be a different story. But this is one that, and luckily now that I have the air running, it gets really annoying, the sound, when the water level gets too low. So that lets me know that I need to add water. In here, what you're seeing are the roots from the pothos that's growing on top. I just recently, like I said, from this video, I started getting into adding these house plants. I'm really liking it. I kind of like this chaotic look. As you can tell, I guess at one time I was really trying to escape aquariums, and now I've pretty much let them go. I don't know. I just I like it personally. I know it's definitely not everybody's taste, and I know a lot of people are gonna go, dude, you gotta, pull some valve and put it in the back. I don't care. It's my tank. I like it. You can watch it if you want. You can turn it off if you don't. So, but I personally enjoy it. I like the fact that these guys can hide in between the valve back there. Like I said, that gourami back there, I don't know if you're going to be able to see him. They're sort of right there. He's hiding back there. He'll come out right now because I just turned on the lights. He's kind of freaked out, so he's back there. So now we'll go to the 33-gallon cube tank. This is a breeding tank. In here, what I have are my angelfish. This is the original mom of all these angelfish, and I lost her partner, her male, and so I got the best looking other male. I don't know if genetically that's probably an issue, because even though they've been laying eggs, he hasn't figured out how to fertilize them, and they're all turning white. That seems to be their favorite spot on that crypt where they're laying their eggs. I had put in a tube, but they're going to do whatever. I was hoping they might do it on the driftwood, but that's not the case. And that's where they continue to on a regular basis, almost like clockwork. Every 2 weeks, they're dropping eggs in there. In here, I just have a couple of crypts in here, and that's pretty much it. The roots from the pothos that's just growing up here are going wild in here. Again, I like the look of the branchy, areas in there. It might impede their movement, but also when they get a little bit frisky, it gives the female a place to hide out, and he won't get to her as easily. So it's kind of like a line of sight break. So, but that's the 33-gallon. Oh, it's being on under gravel filter. Like I said, this is sort of a plenum setup. The only difference is that this one only has gravel, and that's it. I think I had dirt and gravel. That's what I was trying to do with this one. So it's kind of like hybridizing some of Father Fish's ideas with dirted tanks, and doing Kevin Novak's idea of a plenum. So this is like a hybrid. Again, one of the things you'll notice is that I tend to experiment with different things. Again, you can see in here, this is a dirted tank. It's got all my aquariums for the most part are going to have bare minimum of 4 inches of substrate in them. You know, they're all kind of set up that way. I kind of like it. You can see the water's real clear on them. The dirtiness is from the glass that I didn't clean it. Like I said, I wasn't going to do that because I want you to really see what the fish room looks like. Maybe in the future when I do like a spotlight, whatever, I'll definitely pretty it up. But this is the reality of what the fish room looks like. Over here is a 75. Again, it's another one of those deep substrate aquariums. Look at this guy. He's out and about. He's a big shrimp. In here, I have some Corridoras. I have some Buenos Aires tetras. I have one Colombian. There he is. That red-blue Colombian tetra. I have 2 angelfish. That's not a pair. It's just some angelfish that I have in there. Because I was trying to set up like something that would be like a centerpiece fish. There are some bristlenose plecos in here. And I have one of them's back there in the driftwood. There is a male and a female in here. I've seen them have fry in here, but because I don't remove them, I think they've been picked off. Because it's been a while now and I haven't seen any new bristlenose plecos in here. As far as plants, I would love to have more plants, but the only thing that seems to grow in here are these swords, and you can see the edges of them. That these guys right here like to eat the plants. I used to have jungle vel because you notice that a lot of my aquariums have it, but these guys would actually sit there and eat it like spaghetti. They'd start at one end and nibble it all the way down to the roots, and so they just end up killing it. That sword back there, they've been feasting on. This one, most of the tips you can see where they're gone, but I have some crypts in here. They've been doing okay. These guys take a while for them to really start sending out runners and adjusting. But that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot in here. I think what I'm really waiting for is for these Buenos Aires to age out and, you know, die of old age, and then decide what I'm going to do with them. Because I'd really like to change the direction of where this aquarium's going. Like I said, I want to have plants, but I can't have them as long as I have those guys in there. And I've had them forever. They're a lot bigger. You can see that these guys are almost fully grown. I mean, they're a good size. Everybody that comes in here gets surprised, as to how big they are. The other one down here, let me get down in here where we can see it. This, if you've been following my channel, would recognize it as being my bristlenose breeding tank. And I say was because about a month ago, the whole thing crashed. And I think what ended up happening, my oldest bristlenose, which was in a leucistic or albino, I can't remember if it had red eyes, so that would make it different. But it was sold to me as an albino, and I guess he must have died, but he was a good size. He must have been pushing like 5 inches, and he must have died in one of the caves, because the way this was set up, I had a stack of caves, and then I had put a bunch of driftwood over it. So I didn't catch it, and it took out the entire tank, everything that was in there, with the exception, believe it or not, of these coolie loaches, which I really thought these guys were goners. You can see them playing up there. There's one right there. There's 4 of them. For the longest time, I thought I only had one that had survived. But now that I rescaped this, I found out that I have all 4 of them. Only reason I knew I had one of them, because one of them, every time I do a water change, would come up here and start circling around. Now that I've gotten rid of the bristlenose, they seem to be a lot happier. I'm hoping that at least I have a male and a female, and that they'll be able to breed in here. If they do that, I'm going to be super stoked. The only rock piles are literally there for them, so that they can hopefully breed. And we'll see what happens. In here, I have these guys are just a placeholder, these swordtails, because I had so many in that 120. I just kind of threw them in here because I want to keep the tank cycled, and until I figure out exactly what I'm going to do with this aquarium. Again, I've got some plants on the top growing out of the top. This was just jungle val for the longest time, but I've been trimming some plants, and I've been putting some of the little lead weights on them, or I guess they're not lead anymore, but some of these on them, and making little bunches using these little weights for them. And I want to have enough plants because I want to rescape the aquarium at the Children's Museum. So once I know I have enough plants to be able to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull them out of here, take them down there, and be able to rescape that aquarium, because the jungle val in that one has just taken over it, and I'm not too thrilled. I'm not excited about that aquarium anymore. It needs to have a facelift. But again, this is a 55. As you guys can see, there's not a whole lot of stocking in there. I think these guys, oh, there it is. These swordtails, I don't know if you, oh, where's that fry? Can't catch him on the camera. But there's a little fry in there. Oh, there he is. He's coming around. So these guys are starting to drop babies. There's plenty of places for them to hide, so I expect for them to have more. Again, deep substrate, sponge filter running in the back. That's pretty much it. All my aquariums are being heated by a space heater that I'm running in here. My temperature currently is 79 degrees in here in the fish room. I know overnight it'll drop down. There's one of the fries too. So they're starting to put out fry, which is good, I guess, if I want more fry. When I come in the morning, it'll be like 73 in here. So it keeps it warm enough to where I can get away without having to have any sort of heaters in there. So this one, that's my dog outside going crazy. Let me get the stool so I can get down low, because my knees are not what they used to be. Okay, again, this is the second oldest tank. If you would see what this tank originally looked like, you'd be super surprised at how bad it looks now. This was the very first one that I did a true aquascape on it. On Instagram, I've posted a picture. If I could find it, I might insert it into this video. Man, I was super proud of that aquarium, because that was the very first one I had scaped. A lot of it has changed over. Now it's just kind of become more of a breeding project, I guess. Now, really what it is an inspiration from Stephen P's Guppy Mosh Pit. And here what happens is, there was a while there where I was trying to straighten out some guppy lines. And obviously I wasn't going to throw away the coals or anything like that. So I started throwing them in here. And that's why you see like this complete hodgepodge of odd looking guppies. Because now they've kind of intermixed. A lot of them are starting to revert to a wild type. But once in a while you get some interesting colorations. But it's just a place for them to pretty much live out their days, be happy. There's tons of fry in here. That is one thing for sure. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick them up, but there's just fry everywhere. The guppy grass kind of provides a safe haven for a lot of those guys. That basket, there you go. That basket kind of helps some of the smaller fry to be able to dart in there and get away from the parrots. And I was originally doing it because I wanted to grow out some plants over the top of this, but that kind of failed. And now there's a big guppy in there. Maybe I need to pull him out. I just saw that. He's trapped in there. I got to get him out of there. So that's what this is. I got these all Balinocories came from my original 6 that I had purchased. And they started breeding in this aquarium when I had it down there in Mexicali. And I was able to hatch them out. As a matter of fact, I have some Cory eggs in here that I was able to scrape off from, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, that little clutch right there. It looks like some of them are starting to fungus up. Yesterday I saw them in the 120, scraped them up, threw them in there. If they hatch, they do. If they don't, it's no big deal. But, I was just trying to see if I can get them to hatch without doing anything at all. In here, some jungle val. The jungle val in here periodically goes through booms and bust. I'll harvest a lot of the jungle val out here that I sell. These crypts are the same ones you saw up in the 75. I started out with one plant, and in here it's kind of, because they've been in here for so long, established that it started sending out different runners. I've been able to pull some out of here and put them in other aquariums. I do have to remove the val because it competes with the crypts. So that's what I have going on in here. Nothing special, nothing that would make you, I don't know. I just like it though. It's one of the aquariums, excuse me, that I truly enjoy watching just because there's so much activity. I like a lot of movement in my aquariums. It's kind of the idea of keeping the fish is to see them going back and forth. And yeah, that's what it is. It's just one of the ones that I truly enjoy. So that's 5 aquariums in there. And then this one is like a little bonus. This is a breeding project that I've been working on. These are Japanese blue lyre tails. Some people call them antlers. Some people call them guppies. I don't know what to call them, but they're cool. Next time you see them, you guys will have a side view of them. In here, they're just in this plastic. I want to say it's a 40 gallon. It's a 27 gallon tote. That's what it is. It's exactly like that one. There's nothing in there. That was just biological filtration. And what I have in here is a bunch of just extra stones that hopefully, if I need to start another aquarium, I have some cycled media. I do have some shrimp in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. That are just kind of growing out in there. And there's blues, there's reds. Everything in there looks pretty cool. I love how clear the water is in this one, and I don't have to do anything to it. There's really no substrate other than the rocks. But that's pretty much it for this rack. My lighting, if people are interested, as you guys can see, they're just shop lights. That's all I'm running for lighting. I don't have, well, that's not true. I have an aquarium light on there, and I think on the 150 back there that you'll see later on that have actual aquarium lights. But that's it. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. So now when you watch my live streams or you watch some of my videos and you're wondering what's behind me, that's the rack. And now you know exactly what's in there. Again, it's funny because mine is sort of a reflection of what you would see at PetSmart, because that's really what I have available. Luckily, the more now that I've gotten out to some of the Fish Club meetings and just gotten stuff from other YouTubers, I've been able to, diversify my my inventory. So, but you're not going to see anything too rare or uncommon, just because that's what I have access to. And I keep them because I enjoy them for more than anything else. Once we start going to a couple of the other racks, they're more like breeding projects, quote unquote, I guess. And you'll notice that most of my stuff that I like to keep are live bears, just because that's what I have. I have access to. I think they're cool. I enjoy them. Platies are one of the fish that I think are so underrated. These are the first swords that I've kept, and I'm really enjoying them too. So I had kind of stayed away from swords because I knew they needed bigger tanks. Now that I have the footprints that they need to be successful, I decided to give them a try. So that's kind of what's going on in here. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The common theme through my fish room is that I like fishing plants. I don't have any high-tech plants because I don't have high-tech equipment. So with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you guys for the next one. You guys take care.